Hey everybody, welcome to the I Am Podcast YouTube channel.
Make sure to tap the bell, subscribe, and comment down below. Hello everybody, welcome back.
We are here with someone new to our team but not new to the surrogacy world. Ricole, would you introduce yourself?
Sure, my name is Ricole. I am a mom of two wonderful boys who live with autism, and I am currently on my second surrogacy journey with Anu.
It's a mouthful. I love it.
It is.
When did if we go way back, how did you find us? How did you decide you wanted to do a surrogacy journey? Was it something you always knew you wanted to do, or was it kind of something that just crossed your mind one day and you never looked back?
It actually is something that crossed my mind. So I was on Facebook. I saw a surrogacy ad, and I had been really struggling with trying to spread as much kindness as I can, because I believe in that. I believe that this world doesn't have enough love and kindness in it, and that we need to just spread it in order to make that a phenomenon, just make that spread throughout the world. And I was trying to find a way of putting back into my community, putting back into the world with my current lifestyle. I have two special needs children. I run a day home with two other special needs children. So in order to make sure that I was there for everybody and still doing what I wanted to do in life, I decided to go with the surrogacy route, because it wasn't a news advertisement that I saw. It was another surrogacy advertisement. I went and I looked into that, and it didn't feel right. That surrogate company didn't feel right. So then I started to just research surrogacy, and then I came across a news contact information online. But I literally just went to my husband and I said, I want to be a surrogate. And he said, that works great for you. I said, you're okay with that? He said, yeah, hon, I'm with you 100%. I'll support you. And I said, well, then let's do it. So then I contacted Anu, and I got Lorraine, and it's been history since.
I love that so much.
Wake up one day, I think I'll be a surrogate.
That just warmed my heart so much. I just loved all of that, and that your husband was just I'm in if that's what you want to do. How perfect that would be. I love that so much. And was it really as for your family and your situation? Did it stay just that easy and simple, more or less?
It did. Yeah, it was very simple, very easy. I knew you guys, the new crew was just absolutely spectacular. They immediately invited me to the retreat in 2023. So I went, I talked to Lorraine on the 9th of September, and on the 15th I was at the retreat. It was very quick. My first journey, I matched very quick. I knew as soon as I saw my IPs, they were the ones that I wanted to help. I went to the retreat, had a wonderful time with the new ladies. I got to watch how you all interact with each other, and just at that point I was like, man, I want to be part of that team. I didn't know how to do it at the time, and thankfully a year later it's come to that position. But at the time I was just like, no, we got to do this. And it was just so simple. You guys really just helped me. You guided me straight through the process. I had no problems. I was with a wonderful fertility company. It happened very quickly, and even on my first journey I was successful with the first transfer. So it was wonderful.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love when that happens.
When it came up with the people in your real life, in your real world, were they just as supportive as your husband? Was it just one of those so natural things, or was it something? Because I know you're more remote, more northern Alberta. Was that something that was ever met with a kind of side eye, or what are you doing?
Yeah, there was a few people in my life who were side-eyeing, what are you doing? That doesn't make sense, Ricole. Your last pregnancy wasn't the best. It was really good. I had just had gestational diabetes, but they perceived it as wrong. But really what it came down to is they were just concerned for my well-being, and they just wanted to make sure that I was making the right choice for me and my family. And once we sat down and explained to them the reason why, how the process works, because that's the misdemeanor around surrogacy. Not a lot of people understand the actual process. They don't understand that this child is not yours. It's not genetically linked to you. That's not the case. And there's a lot of miscommunication and misinformation out there for that. So they just had to be educated. It's really just education. Explain to them what the process is, what happens, what I have to go through, and then everyone else was supported after that.
I totally agree with that statement, especially in talking to the people that I talk to, and kind of people who are maybe interested in surrogacy, and even if they're just looking for information or not ready to dive in, even if I can just tell them the information, like so many things get like kind of cleared up, or like just the misinformation and just not understanding. Like even if you decide you don't want to be a surrogate and it's not for you, if I can just help you understand this a little better so that as you go through your life and your interactions, that like you just have accurate information, because it is so foreign, it seems.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people go with the mentality of commercial surrogacy. This is a commercial surrogacy. You're getting paid for it. It's like, really, no, come on, get with the program here. Let's talk about Canada. No, we're not talking about the States. We're talking about Canada. So when it comes down to it, it's just like we do need to educate people. And quite frankly, the worst experience I had during my surrogacy was just a random people at a store who were asking me about the pregnancy. And when I informed them it was a surrogacy, they were appalled and, oh my goodness, that baby is yours and it's genetically linked to you. And how can you give that away? And I'm just like, I said to them, it's not the case. It's not genetically mine, and I will gladly sit here and chat with you, and we can talk about what exactly the surrogacy is all about. But I'm not worried. But thank you so much for your concern. It's kind of what it was. So yeah, I agree with you 100% on that one, Maria.
Like
Yeah. I actually was talking to a guy yesterday, and he was asking me like what I do, and when I said, he's like, we got talking about it, and he's like, so how much do they get paid? And I thought, that's always everyone's first question. Like, they can't imagine someone just doing this because they want to. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I said to him, if men were carrying babies, there would be 6 people on the earth. Like, it's always the men too that ask me how much you get paid.
I've had a lot of women ask that question, and it's just like, to me, it's just like, no, I'm not getting paid. Sorry, I just want to have somebody.
I always think when people kind of get like caught up in some of kind of those things, and caught up in, are you getting paid, are you this, are you that, and it's like, what if it was you, or what if it was your sister, or like, because I mean the statistics do say this is 1 in 4. Like we all know someone in our lives who struggled to get pregnant, or struggled to keep a pregnancy, or all of the list goes on of the people that we help because they need a surrogate. And just if it was you, you would be so grateful that there was someone like you that was willing to help and wasn't in it for the money, and really just wanted to see someone else get to have the family that they've always wanted. And I think it really is the beautiful thing about surrogacy and how it is here in Canada, because it is unique to being Canadian and here, and people want that. You think of all the intended parents we have that are all over the world, and that's important to them. They want that. They don't want that transactional layer, I think. And I'm sorry that it was the people at the supermarket that were the hardest, but like I think that's so amazing for you to have that conversation and to see that through, because I think that is slowly how you change the world and you shift the perspective. And just like 20 years ago, it was a lot more, we did traditional surrogacy and there was a genetic link. Like I think that really changes the game when the truth gets out, and that we can have an open and honest conversation about that this isn't a secret, and it's not my baby, and it's I'm just here to make the world a better place, and that we don't need you and your negative Nancy attitude about what I'm doing.
That's exactly it, and it was actually at the very end of my pregnancy too. It was not the beginning, it wasn't in the middle, it was literally weeks before I gave birth. And I honestly had to stop myself from laughing because of just the abrasiveness that she came off with, and how upset she was for me. And I said to her, I said, I'm not offended. Like, I understand that you just don't have information, and I will gladly give you this information, but please don't tell me how I'm going to feel. I do know how I'm going to feel. I do know how I do feel. I've spent months upon months upon months building an amazing relationship with my IPs, so that I know that I will feel good giving this child to them. And they are absolutely spectacular. I have a wonderful relationship with my IPs. We're going to be seeing them in the new year as well. And I get weekly updates on baby and how big he is, and all this wonderful thing. So it's about building that relationship. I can tell you that with my journey, when I zinged, as Lorraine likes to call it, I connected with her, with mom, and to watch her baby come into the world and to see that on her face, you're not going to get that anywhere else. You can't be replicated. You can't pretend. You can't even describe it. It's just pure, utter amazement with her watching me going through as much pain as I've ever been in my life to bring her child into this world. The appreciation, just the value of that on her face when she walked in and saw her child come out, was just undescribable. It's something that I'll never experience, I think, the same again. But even though I'm going through another journey, it was my first, and that's the first is going to be that one that catches you. You know what I mean? Like that's the one that's you're going to remember forever. Not that I'm not going to remember this one, but that one is the one that caught me to go through the second journey. That's the one that made me go through that next one, you know?
It's so crazy to me because, like, every time, I mean, I've had this conversation a lot, and every time someone tells me about, like, even just that little bit of that birth story and making parents, it gives me the goosebumps every time. Like, just feeling that emotion, and, like, I wasn't in that room, and I wasn't, like, but it's just so cool. Like, and when people worry about falling in love with the baby, I'm like, no, you fall in love with the parents you've made.
Yes.
And watching them become parents, because there is no other way in this world to get that feeling. There just isn't. And it's truly amazing. And you've changed the world for not only your lifetime, but many to come because of this.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I also feel like intended parents are incredibly strong because you're going to somebody, even if you're male, female, it doesn't really matter. You're going to somebody and saying, I can't do this on my own. Can you please help me? And they are relying entirely on you to make sure that their baby is growing right and that you're giving them all the information. And they're just so strong in order to come to you and say, first off, to say, I need help. Can you help me? That's one of the things that society has the biggest problem in is asking for help, reaching out when you need it, right? But also at the same time, them coming in saying, I'm going to leave this in your hands. I trust you. That's a big, big value of trust on your shoulders. And that's something I think that a lot of people misconstrue sometimes as well.
Absolutely.
How is the surrogacy for your boys? Like, I know your boys have autism and they're, kind of both special needs, and the kids that you watch and you help every day. How did that go for them?
It was a wonderful experience. My youngest son didn't really acknowledge the fact that I was pregnant. He was more like, "Oh, mom's gained a few extra pounds, right? She's just a little bit bigger." But my eldest son, because he'd gone through a pregnancy with me before, when he was younger, he kind of understood. And towards the end of the pregnancy, he was in on it. Like I have a video of him, holding my belly and loving it and giving it kisses. And I was explaining to him, I said, yeah, there's a baby in mommy's belly, and this is the baby's name, and he's not ours, and he has a mommy and daddy who loves him so much, but mommy gets to grow him and give him to his mommy. And he just smiles and he said, yay! And he started to give my tummy a kiss. And I immediately sent that video to my IPs because they were just head over heels with my kids. The other kids that I have in my day home live with ADHD. So they understood what was going on, but they're high energy and they're just like asking questions all the time and wanting to take pictures with me and wanting to see who mom and dad are going to be and then just wanting to see the baby after he was born. And they were just very much in it. They were just like, this is so cool. I love that you're doing it. So it was well received. They were always willing to help. Like, hey, I'm like, you guys, I can't pick that up. No problem, Ricole, I'll get it. Run over, pick it up, help me. Oh, you guys, can you sweep the floor? No problem, Ricole, I'll do it. And then they would definitely jump in and help, right? So they were very, very helpful, very receptive. They thought it was the coolest thing ever. And they love the updates that I give them too. They periodically see them and they just think it's wonderful.
That's so cool.
That is so cool. That's so special.
I love that part of surrogacy is that you get to share it with so many other people too, right? Like it's not... Yeah, it's not just you that gets to experience it, it's everybody else in your life, and they all think it's so cool, and yeah, it's very neat.
Yeah, and it's funny because I had a few friends going through pregnancy at the same time with keepers, right? So like my son's behavioral consultant, very first child she's going through her pregnancy with me, and she's just like, why are you doing this for someone else? This is a horrible thing. And I said, honey, it's because it's your first. Your body doesn't know what you're doing right now. It's just trying to get used to what's happening to you. I said, when you have more, it changes. Your body will remember and it'll bounce right back and you'll be okay. Yeah. And so we had great conversations. She was just floored that I was going through all of this for someone else. And my pregnancy was drastically different from hers. She ended up getting preeclampsia and had to have an early inducement, but she was quite swollen and very, very tired. Meanwhile, I was like feeling great, the best I've felt in years. I'm like, no morning sickness. Had to constantly remind myself that I was pregnant. And then when I got pregnant, it was a nice little bit. I didn't gain much weight. It was a wonderful experience all the way through. I like to tell his parents that he was a very much a gentleman all the way through. Even when he came out, he didn't even tear me once, and not one stitch was to have. That boy was just perfect.
Oh, I love that so much.
Let's hope that continues for
Yeah,
his
no
parents.
kidding. Yeah.
That's cute.
Leave it. So you get to see your intended parents soon. Are they quite close by? Are they local? Like,
they're located in the next province over. So in BC,
nice.
they're located there. So we're gonna pop in and see them in the new year, and then they have plans to come back every year on his birthday to celebrate with us.
Oh,
So
that's so
they made
cool.
that within hours of him being born. We've decided this is what we're going to do. Every year we're going to come back on his birthday. We're going to let him know that you are the one who birthed him. We want a relationship. We want you in his life. We want you in our lives. And even now, I get messages from her once a week. I miss you so much. I miss you so much. I love you. I miss you so much. He's doing amazing. Look how beautiful he is. And she just keeps thanking me over and over all the time. Like, it's wonderful. I feel spoiled rotten by it, but I just love it. And you know, Jar, I'm trying not to cry too.
Yeah, like, that's so nice.
Yeah, they're amazing. And to me, that's what made my experience so spectacular, was the fact that I had such a wonderful relationship with my intended mom.
Oh,
I spoke to her every day. Every day we were talking. Hey, how are you doing? What's going on? What's going on in your life? Is there anything I can do to help you? Hey, I'm really sorry you're not feeling good. Can I help you with anything? You know, just anything, really. Just talk about how you're doing. She'd ask me how my kids are. Are they sick? Are you not? How are you feeling? And then I'd update her on everything. There was the first time I felt I could actually get the baby kicking on camera. I was videoing it in the middle of the night, about 9-10 o'clock at night. I'm sitting there, my tummy, and videoing it, and then I sent it to her right away, and she started to cry. She said her and her husband sat there and we watched that video for an hour straight. And it was a 20-second video that they watched for an hour over and over and over and over and over again, just because they were just so excited for this opportunity. But my first IPs had waited so long. They never had a surrogate at all except them until me. They were actually right on the cusp of giving up. They were just talking about donating their embryos or destroying them because they had just had no hope at that point. And so when I had reached out and I had said, this is them, this is the people I want to help, Dad had said to me afterwards, Ricole, he's like, you shouldn't have seen our profile. Our contract had expired 2 weeks before. He's like, you shouldn't have seen our profile. And I said, they didn't actually give it to me at first. I said, I want to see the person who'd waited the longest. And he's like, yeah, but we were just talking about waiting for mom's birthday and then getting rid of the embryos, donating them or destroying them. He said, this was just amazing. And I said, well, it's meant to be. Miracles are miracles, and it's meant to be. You're meant to be parents.
I love that's so beautiful. What do you think you'll do a sibling journey for them at some point, or do you think they're like, this is it for them?
This is it for them, but that offer is on the table. So I was chatting with Mom. I actually offered, believe it or not, immediately after he was born. I said, do you want another? And she's like, if you're going to do it, 100%, we'll have another. And then her and her husband started talking, and they're still in that honeymoon stage with their newborn. And like, we don't want to jump right back into there. So I'm ready to go back into another journey. And they're not ready yet. So at this stage, they're saying that they're done, but they are going to hold on to their embryos just in case next year they decide to change their tune. And then I had said to them, I said, okay, well, I only ever planned on doing 2 surrogacies. I said, but if you decide on a sibling surrogacy, I said, 100% I will do a third for you. So just reach out to me, let me know what you decide. That door is not closed. That door is always open. Just reach out to me, we can find out.
That's so sweet, Ricole.
That's just, it's just beautiful. It's
so nice.
Thank you.
This is
Yeah,
why
it was important to me. That was the number one thing that was very important to me, is building that relationship. Because if you don't have a relationship with the parents, you can't have a relationship with the child. And so you need to really get in there and be with those people and experience this with them. And to me, she's never going to experience it. She's never going to understand what pregnancy is like. So to give her as much as I possibly could of her own journey was what my goal was. And even when I was in labor, she's sitting there going, can you please describe to me what you're feeling? I'll never experience this. Can you please tell me how it feels?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's really
right?
sad.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
like, just, oh.
So I sat there in labor
I would have
and I
bawled
was
my eyes
letting to
out.
her what was going on, how I was feeling, what was going on, and the reason why I was feeling that way. This was going on. I'm like, I was in labor for 24 hours. My water broke and I labored and I had to be induced because he just did not want to come. He actually, when my water broke, I was having regular contractions. Regular contractions, they started getting faster. I talked to mom and dad, and I was telling my husband, oh, they're not going to be here till late this evening. Boom, contractions stop. Hours, nothing happens. Contractions just stopped. Right as they get there, oh, look, mom and dad's here. Contractions start right back up.
This kid is a
Literally. And
genius.
I said to her, I said, he was waiting for you. Like he was not going to come without you here. Like this was the goal, right? So when they got there, we induced so we could make sure that they were a part of it all, and everything was quickly because we were running into some complications where when I was contracting or laying on a certain side, his heart rate would drop, and that was concerning. So we decided to induce to make sure that nothing happened to him. And trust me, inducement's not fun. It's not something that I wanted to do. I begged not to do it, but I was like, if it's what's best for him, it's what's best for him. So yeah.
Oh, Ricole, that's so incredible. Like wow.
I just, those moments are so raw and powerful, and then I just think about that's only the start of the legacy of what you've done. And I just think that's
one day you'll get to be in Lorraine's shoes and you'll get to go to his graduation and like his wedding and when he has a baby, like how cool. So
Isn't
incredible.
I know the rain is actually my inspiration for that. Like the fact that she just went to her surrogate baby's graduation. That's incredible that she still has
cool.
18 years of that relationship that never failed, that never went under. That's life goals right there.
Right?
That's life goals.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want to be able
I
to,
think it's
be at my surrogate baby's wedding.
right. How cool. I think that's the coolest. One of the coolest parts about surrogacy is that you get two new best friends. Like,
Yeah.
not just the baby, but like those intended parents will be your friends if that's what you want forever. Like,
and
how
just
cool.
the extension of like the family that you get to pick.
Yeah.
And just that a connection and something that you go through together that you just is so different than anything else in this world.
Yeah, like you can meet somebody in a coffee shop and become their friend, and that's special in itself. But this is
this
like
is
nothing
so
else.
like this is so intimate. Like describing your labor, just like, that's really cool.
It's so incredible.
We call each other sisters. It's a sister relationship for us. We're family, right? Her parents were at the delivery as well. They weren't in the room, but they were there. And so immediately after, mom, dad hugging me. Oh, thank you so much. You have no idea. They've always wanted a baby. You have no idea. You've blessed us. Grandma and grandpa live with them. So this child is well cared for and very spoiled. And they're fighting over who gets him when. And so he's definitely going to be very, very loved and is already very loved. So to me, it's like you become part of the family when you're with them, when you're with the right people. Even my current my current IPs, because I am already matched. So with my second journey going on, they're in Australia. It is really hard to talk to them on a daily basis, but we still make time to chat. We've talked about, hey, I really want to see you more often. Can we do more video chats? I'm like, yeah, we can do that at least twice a month. We'll make this happen. Like you're now part of my life. So when I choose you as an IP, you're part of my life. You're part of my family because I'm bringing you into my circle. And that's kind of how I feel. So it's very important to me I choose the right IPs and make sure that we all mesh and we all can get along and we all are here for the right reasons,
How did you choose your second set of intended parents? Was it as easy? Were you just like, yeah, these ones?
It wasn't as easy, but when I did see them, I knew I was very, very much drawn towards them. I am a very spiritually based person, and I go towards people I'm drawn to. I really enjoyed their profile. They were very genuine, very open. They were fun. They just seemed like people that I would enjoy talking to. Just people I would enjoy getting to know, and they're wonderful guys. I really enjoy them. I liked chit-chatting about Canada versus Australia and Ricole, you gotta come here. And I'm like, but there's animals there that kill you and they're
Yeah.
this big. And Ricole, look at all that snow. Like, how can you do that? And so we go back and forth constantly.
The
So it's
snow
it's
makes
it's a
sure there's
wonderful
no
time.
poisonous spiders.
Yeah.
I will
Right.
deal with the snow.
Yeah.
I think they have seven of the most poisonous spiders in the world
That's
in
not for me.
Australia, and equally as many snakes. They have some of the most venomous snakes in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. My egg baby lives in Australia, and I like want to go over there so bad, but I'm also like,
Right?
it's
Actually,
fair.
my IPs are just like, Ricole, we're still alive. And I'm like, I get that, but how often do you truck out? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah,
That
they're
might just
just
be
like,
luck.
they're slowly winning me over though. They really are. They're sending me pictures of this is our yard and we're fixing the fence and look at our garden. And their garden was a bush, literally what we would consider to be a bush. It's overgrown. I'm like, that's not overgrown. That's taken
This is a
over.
bush.
Like, what do you mean? So yeah, we
That's
have
cute.
some good laughs and some good giggles.
Where are you at now in your second journey?
I'm currently going through the screening process.
Nice. Nice.
Like right now, I'm just waiting to have my lining checked and have my blood work done. I'm going this afternoon for blood work,
Nice.
and then we'll have to go to legals and such.
So when did you actually give birth? Like how long? Like how far postpartum are you?
September 20th, 2024.
Oh,
Oh my
so
gosh.
like very
The
fresh.
6th of December.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I knew right away. I knew as soon as I was done that I wanted to help somebody else. That this was, yes, it was the most extraordinary pain I've ever been in my life. But it was worth it. It was worth bringing that life into this world. It was worth seeing the parents just so utterly in love with that baby. And I wanted to do it for somebody else. I was like, this is a great feeling. Let's keep doing it. I know it was the high of the hormones immediately after, but I waited a while and then I connected back with Heather and got right back into it.
I
That's so
love
cool.
that.
That is like an addiction.
Yeah.
Did you do any kind of like pumping, breastfeeding? Like did you do any, was that a part of your journey or no?
We did try. We tried to breastfeed immediately after baby was born, but he would not latch properly. And honestly, I think it's because my nipples were too big. I really do. He's Asian baby, so he has a small mouth, and so he just couldn't latch right. But he took to the formula very well, and it was history after that. So I just said that's
And
fine.
was it like did your body handle like not nursing and drying up and all of that like really well?
No,
No.
no,
Oh.
no. I did get mastitis in both breasts, but it
Oh.
was treated very quickly. So it was like boom, done. But I went up two bra sizes. I went from a double D to an F.
Oh.
Yeah,
Poor-
it hurt. It hurt. I woke
Oh.
up screaming
Yeah.
one morning because, like, I think it was like the Saturday after I had him. I woke up just screaming and in pain from it because they just all of a sudden all my milk came in at once and they were just massive. So
Yeah.
yeah, not fun.
That's something like that is a postpartum experience that like you don't forget.
No. I
Like-
actually took a picture of myself just so that, because in that moment I thought, this is awful. I took a picture of myself sitting on my bed with like two pumps on. I look awful. And I have it like in my hidden folder so I don't just like accidentally come across it. But I just like never wanted to forget, like, you got through that day. It's okay. Like,
Yeah.
that day was awful.
And if you can make it through that, you can make it through anything.
Yeah, literally.
That's it, right? And like, yeah, sure, it hurt, but it was short-lived. It got dealt with right away, and
Yeah.
it was done. I actually they told me not to pump. They told me not to express because they wanted my milk to dry up as quick as it could. And that was part of the reason why I got the mastitis is because they told me not to do that. They told me, oh, use cabbage leaves, drink what was it, neocitrin. Neocitrin will also dry up your milk, right?
What? I
Do
did
yeah,
not
because
know
it dries
that.
you right up. That's what ended up helping me in the end with neocitrin. I'd have to drink two a day, 2 cups a day, and it was done.
And how
Really?
fast?
It took about a month and a half of drinking 2 cups a day, and then it was done for me.
Oh wow. What's one thing now that you've done this once, you're diving in and doing it a second time? Is there anything you'll do differently? Is there anything you felt like you missed in your first journey or something you wouldn't do again?
I ran into some difficulty around my OBGYNs up here in Grand Prairie. Because we have limited doctors up here, I ran into some complications around the gestational diabetes test. So, and that was just because I have a corn intolerance, I can't consume
Like the drink?
the diabetes, the drink. I
Yeah.
can't have the drink. So the problem was getting something I could have. And nobody up here understood except for one pharmacy. It's actually Mint Pharmacy in town.
A bag of Skittles has the same amount of sugar. I have never understood why you can't just like sit there and eat what you want for candy.
It makes, yeah, it's because it's not measured. I know what you mean.
Right,
That
yeah.
was one thing that they explained to me because the doctor tried that my OBG at the time had tried to get me to take sugar and pour it into water and then just consume that. But because it was not metered by a pharmacist, it was not considered to be okay to use in their test because they couldn't guarantee that my devices were what would you call it? They weren't can't remember what it's called. They weren't like done right. They couldn't tell if I was using the right equipment, if my equipment was accurate. They
Right.
couldn't tell the efficacy of it. So because they couldn't determine that information, they had made me go to a different pharmacy and they had to have it made. And I actually have one prepped for the next pregnancy because I was supposed to go for another one here, and afterwards I had to go for another diabetes test, but they gave me the wrong amount of sugar in it. So I know I'm holding that one on for the next gestational diabetes test because
That's
that's for
why.
the first one for gestational diabetes.
Huh. Yeah, that drink was awful. After that, I was like, there's got to be a different way to do this. I did not
My
like
drink's
that.
better. It's just like literally sugar and like water, and it just
Hmm.
has a tiny, it like takes like sugar, but it has a tiny metallic taste, and that's it. Done.
Hmm.
I
But
just
yeah,
need to order the Ricole next time you need
Yeah.
a gestational diabetes test.
Yeah.
it's a $70 test. It is. The first
Really?
one's 70, the next one's 80. It's quite expensive. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I didn't realize that.
And it's not covered.
Really?
Wasn't covered by my insurance company. They wouldn't cover it.
What?
That's
Yeah, I know.
crazy.
You can go and get it covered if you go to the lab, but to have the special one made, they wouldn't cover it. So my eyepiece had to reimburse it in full. It was nasty.
That's crazy.
That is odd.
That's just highway robbery, really. So, Nicole, what was your life like before coming to a new?
Yeah.
Hectic. It was hectic. I was running a day home with two children with ADHD, my own children. I have three dogs. Um, I have people who drop in their children on a regular basis to drop to my day home. I have recently pulled back on the day home side of things though because it's just easier with my kids and my lifestyle to go down a more professional route. But yeah, so it was just every day living the mom life,
Right.
being at home, taking them to school, picking them up, dealing with the school, any issues I had there, and helping my husband whenever he needed help. Really, just life at the house.
Right. How old are your kids, Nicole?
6 and 10.
6 and 10. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we're about to go down to get some stem cell therapy in Mexico here next month.
I saw
That's
that.
our big trip. That's what we're doing. We're going to go
How
down and get some stem cell therapy to see if we can help them with their communication.
Right.
how long will you be down there?
We are leaving the 21st of January and coming back the 11th of February, so a few weeks.
How old were your children when you realized they were autistic?
I knew when my eldest son was 18 months that there was something not quite right.
Right.
Uh, he was uh, he was very much on par for his milestones until that age, and then he started to regress. So he was saying "ma," "dad," milk, all that kind of stuff. But at 18 months of age, it was the hardest time in my life. I watched the light in my child's eyes go out. He literally just looked like he was blank. He wasn't there anymore. It was very hard.
I'm so sorry, Ricole. But
It's okay.
so
He
how
was
did
five
you?
when he was five, officially diagnosed.
Right. Wow, that
Took
long.
Yeah, there was an 18-month, almost 2 year wait list, and trying to get the doctor to kind of understand what was happening. It was a hard stage for us in our life. I'll be honest with you, that was the hardest probably stage in my entire life was
Oh,
watching my
absolutely.
child suffer that way, and trying to figure out what was going on.
Right. Well, and now, look how far you've come. Like, this is incredible. So, how did
Yeah.
you get into the figure out that this was what you needed for your kids to go to Mexico?
My husband has been trying to find medical procedures that can help them
Yeah.
because he's been very much into, yes, these therapies help them because we go through therapies. We have speech therapy, we've had behavioral therapy, we've had occupational therapy, we have a program aide, they have a school team, we have a home team, and we've watched them. We've watched our eldest son, he's 10 now, so we've been doing this for 5 years. We've watched him not progress the way he should be. And it's a combination of strategies that aren't working and mental state of my child and just not wanting to perform the way they want him to perform, regression and then progression. So my husband started going, there's got to be a better way of this. Like we've got to figure this out. And so one day he was at the grocery store and he interacted with a woman who had a child with autism, and him and her started talking, and she explained he had stem cell therapy and it was the best thing I've ever done. And he started talking immediately afterwards. And so my husband went, explain this to me. So she explained it to him a bit. He went and started doing some research. He went and researched for about a year, found out all the information that he wanted. And then he went and located a company in Mexico that will do the procedure to the way we want it done, which is more stem cells and being injected into their stomach. A lot of different stem cell facilities will use a lesser amount right off, like because right now it's where we're at, it's 3 million stem cells per kilogram weight of the child is what they inject into their via IV into their stomach to try to help heal that stomach lining, and then they go with a 10 billion exosome spray up their nose to help the neuroplasticity and the neurons blaze as well. So that's where we're going. We wanted to have the higher dosage because our eldest son is older. His neuroplasticity isn't like that of a younger child, which is more flexible. And so we wanted to make sure that he was getting the right treatment. And so we did go through, we did a consult with that organization. We really liked what they presented, how they were explaining things to us, and we decided to just go with them. And they were also reasonable. Like we had gone to multiple locations. One was $40,000 Canadian a child. And this one is about $10,000 to almost $15,000 per child. So it's a significant decrease.
Yeah.
I mean, now the downside to this, my children don't fly. Like, they won't get on that plane. Being in that tiny environment with two children living with autism is going to be too hard on us and on the passengers. And we're very worried we're going to get kicked out. So we have to drive. That's why we're taking so long, because we're driving to Cancun and then we'll be driving back. So we're kind of try to make a holiday of it per se for the kids. I'll still be working, but they'll be having their fun time. And if we can stop in Disneyland, we will. If we can't, then I'm not really horribly upset over it. But we've got family in the States we're going to stop and visit too. So
Nice.
How
You guys like take your camper?
Yeah.
no, not the camper,
Okay.
because we have to drive through Alberta right now, and we're full of snow, right? So we have to through Alberta. We are going down through BC. We're not going to go through Montana. We're going through BC down through California, and so my motorhome is already winterized.
Right.
And it can't make this. It can't make these roads.
Yeah.
We'll crash. So we're taking my minivan and we're just gonna stay in some hotels. My sister's coming up to care for my animals and watch my house, and she's gonna work remotely with her position, and so that she can help me out with there.
Oh,
That's
I love
really
it. I love that you have the support to do that.
How long do you
I really do.
think it's
Sorry.
going to take? How long will it take from when you leave to when you get to Cancun? Like, how long do you figure it'll be?
We have allotted 10 days in for that trip.
Mm.
It would take 87 hours. I have the route picked out, so it takes 87 hours of solid driving to go from here to there. So 4 full days essentially is what it would take.
That is a lot of miles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots and lots of miles. Yeah,
Sometimes
but my
it's
kids are worth it, and you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, just over a week of it's gonna be cool. You're gonna be stuck in a car. That's not gonna be great, but how it's gonna be so worth it, right? So.
Yeah, well, we're taking that 10 days because we want to be able to take breaks at our leisure and not have to be scrambling to get there. And it's also too, is we're driving through Mexico. It's not the safest place. So we have to be careful about where we're driving, how we're driving, what we have on us, what's visible sort of thing, right? Yeah. So that's why we're taking a bit more time. My boys travel well in vehicles. They do. They can travel for 6 solid hours without a break, but we don't want to do that to them because they'll do that and then they'll burn out from it, and then we're running into problems. You guys have kids, you know what it's like. So when it comes down to it, it's just not something we want to do. We want to take as many breaks as we can, plan in a few different things, like stopping. My husband wants to stop at Mount Shasta. It's just this, it's that's the coolest mountain in the States. I'm like, yeah, okay, we can stop at Mount Shasta on the way back. On the way down, we're not going to do that. But yeah.
How did you meet your husband?
We met online. My husband and I have been married for almost 16 years. We met online on Plenty of Fish, And that one way back in the day when it was actually not a hookup site. And it was history from then. We actually, even our relationship progressed very quickly. Like we met within a week, I had keys to his apartment. Within 2 weeks, he had me moved in. Within a month, we were engaged to be married. So we've
Oh
never
my
looked back.
gosh.
I
Yeah.
love
I
that.
feel like you just jump right into everything, hey? Like,
Well, when I make the choice,
yeah.
it's made. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point of waiting?
I love
You know?
that.
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah.
I've made the choice. It's like I was talking to my IPs the other day. I was talking to them with, I think it was a couple of days ago, with Lee, and the guy's like, well, we don't really want to dictate when Ricole gets pregnant. We just want her to make that choice herself. And I said, you guys, if I could do now, I'd be doing it now. I said, I have to wait 6 months postpartum, so the earliest we can transfer is March. I said, if it was up to me, I'd already be pregnant with your baby. And they just laughed and they started to giggle. They're like, well, thank you for letting us know. I'm like, yeah, I thank you for not trying to dictate when I should be pregnant.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it was my choice, we'd already be pregnant.
We would already be down that
I
road.
love that.
What does your husband do?
My husband is a branch manager and sales manager for a battery organization called Magna Charge Battery.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
That's awesome that he's able to like go with you and you're not on your own on this big trip.
Yeah, he's taking holidays and we're all just gonna go down. There is no way I could do it without him. I'm not driving and I wouldn't want to. I would do my best to fly them down, but if it was by myself. But no, we very much are a team. That's actually a lot of people who have children with autism usually ends up in divorces. I would say about 80 to 85% of them end up in divorces simply because of different beliefs, different things. Like I know somebody who her husband believes that her son needs a heavy metal detox, and that will cure his autism. That's a very wide belief out there that if you heavy metal detox your child, the autism will go away. That's not the case. Autism is a genetic disorder, and so when it comes down to that kind of stuff, yes, the heavy metals might have an effect on them. And if they are, you will know heavy metal signs and symptoms are out there. So there's just things like that. So that usually ends up with a lot of strain on the relationship. I'm very fortunate that my husband and I have been able to pivot and work together as a team for our children. And so, yeah, for when something happens for them, something happens that where one of us is needed, we're both there. We both need that support, and we know it at this point in our marriage.
Good for you guys.
That's really special.
That's so special. Like I just,
Who painted the dinosaur?
yeah.
I did.
That's so
beautiful.
fun.
I love it.
That's so.
I painted that. It goes in the dark. It actually has a like a little map there, and it goes all the way back here. This all glows in the dark.
Oh, how
But I
cool.
painted that.
That's so cool.
Cute.
Are you into dinosaurs, or is that something your boy like you did thinking of your boys?
I did that thinking of my boys.
Yeah.
So it's gonna go into one of my children's rooms here right away. It's gonna probably go into my youngest boy's room.
It's
Very
so
cute.
cute.
I love that.
I was
Thank
looking
you.
at that the whole like.
Yeah,
I was like,
who painted that cute dinosaur?
that's
I
Jared, the
found a
boy
dinosaur
mom
for him,
talking.
and I drew it all out and painted it all up, and it was fun.
That's so cute.
It
So-
helps me de-stress.
What's something like you've got surrogacy for you, but you've got this busy like packed life. Like, what's if you had the day to yourself to do something that fills your cup? What would it be?
Oh, I would sit down and probably play with my dogs, take them for a walk, go for a walk and in nature. I love nature. I love going for hikes out and amongst the bush. And then I'd come home and paint and sit down and read a book.
I love
I'm
that.
simple.
Sometimes that's just the best way to fill your cup, though. Like,
Mhm.
I love that.
Just do stuff for you. I like being out in nature, like being in amongst my animals. I find that my animals really help heal the soul. Like they just, I'm sad. I'm having a down day. I'm having stress. You know, it affects me. I'm not as strong as everyone thinks I am. I just go and grab. I have one dog in particular. Her name is Lilith, and she's a Chow Chow Pomeranian. And I just go and I grab. She's just this fluffy ball of fur. Is all she really is, right? It's just you touch her and she's like silk. And I'm like, just come here. And she just comes and puts her paws on my shoulders, starts giving me kisses, and we just hug.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
We finish with this question every time, and since Ricole hinted she may or may not have never watched the podcast before, this will be a bit of a surprise. If you could have supper with anyone living or passed on, who would it be?
Oh, that's a big question. No, I should have watched the podcast. So I would be better prepared for this. Honestly, living or alive, I would probably have to say my maternal grandfather because I never got to see him as much as I wanted to in life. And he was definitely somebody that I loved and connected with. And when he was gone, it was too late to do what I needed to do. And that was a hard lesson to learn in life. So I just would probably sit down and say, Grandpa, tell me how it is, and that was probably it.
Well, Ricole, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining the new team.
Yes.
We're so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me in both, actually. I'm really excited to be a part of the team, and you've all been so welcoming. I keep hearing that. We're so excited you're here. I'm like, yay! I'm excited too. I'm not used to this. This is not the normal environment I'm used to working in. So this is such a refreshing environment, and it's so positive. It's so uplifting. It's so wonderful to be a part of, and I'm just so happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Yeah. So we're going to go have some lunch now. Karen's cooking for us, and
Yeah, we live the good life.
We really do.
Yeah.
We will see you
I can see that. Yeah, definitely. Have a good day, ladies.
Bye, Ricole.
Bye.